cat killer. Steve worked for an upscale temp agency. It was his job to fill difficult positions and ask the hard questions to see if people really qualified for the jobs that they were after. It was just another day at the office, and a heap of folders piled up in front of him. His schedule was jammed with back-to-back interviews, and his eyes were on the clock, looking forward to going home. He shifted a folder towards him and opened it up, and quickly scanned over the unfilled position at D'Amico Veterinary. This was a hard one since the employer had a contract with the city shelter, and the job involved putting down overflow animals that were otherwise healthy. He hated having to fill this position, and he hated it more that this position even existed in the first place. Most people know that animal shelters help animals, but what a lot of people don't know is they often shut down on Mondays to euthanize any unadopted ones. Euthanize is another name for kill. It's not something they want to do, but otherwise they won't have room for new animals coming in. Steve always felt bad on Sundays since he knew it was a last day for a lot of desperate dogs and cats. In a way, he hoped by not filling this position, he would save some animal lives. But he also knew that he was just dreaming rainbows and that it had to be done. Steve looked up as Nancy entered. Nancy was around 30, long blonde hair and a nice smile. She didn't really look the nerves of steel type, but Steve hoped this time around looks would be deceiving. He motioned for her to sit down. They made some small talk, and then...
I'll cut to the chase. And if you want this, I need you to be absolutely truthful.
She nodded, ready.
What we're looking for is someone who won't flinch at the thought of killing them.
Nancy didn't flinch. This was a good sign.
I can handle it.
While a quarter of the job involves caring for them, the rest is putting them down. Now, obviously you've done that before?
Nancy nodded her head. Inside, Steve felt ill.
Let me ask you something. Off the record. How do you do it?
Nancy thought about it for a moment.
I've looked into their eyes and watched the life go out of them. I've done it in quite a few different ways.
Something about her statement disturbed Steve, but here was the first candidate who actually seemed fine with the position. She looked around nervously, not sure if she should continue, but she did.
The younger they are, the easier it is, since they really don't know what's coming next. The older ones can sense what you want to do and put up a struggle. I always, of course, try not to do it, unless I really, really have to.
I'm sure it must be difficult.
It is, but I'm really good at what I do. And I'm discreet.
Fantastic.
He shook Nancy's
I'll get back
hand
to
and
you.
said he'd get back to her and then placed her file in the great possibilities pile. As she was leaving, the next interviewee entered. A man, late 40s, long beard and a pierced nose. Steve looked down at his desk, thoroughly confused. In front of him was a folder to be the executive nanny for several children.
You are here for the nanny position?
No,
Scoffed the bearded man.
for D'Amico Veterinary.
Steve immediately hurried out of his office towards his assistant.
Nancy James, the woman that was in here before, what position was she interviewing for?
The nanny position for the McGee family. She comes highly recommended.
Nanny position?
The younger they are, the easier it is, since they really don't know what's coming next.